Hey gang, I am Natalie Diaz with Twiniversity, and I'm excited to have a special guest with me today. Please, without further ado, meet my good friend Mary Kiza, who I couldn't pronounce her name 2 minutes ago because it's spelled interestingly. So I'm glad that I wrote it down the way that it sounds. So now Mary or really still could be, a surgical assistant in labor and delivery, and she's worked at Sutter and Kaiser in the San Francisco Bay Area. And the interesting thing of why we've fallen in love with Mary is because Mary has created something that is a necessity to new parents. There's a lot of products on the market that you'll see and you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's great. But in Twiniversity, what we have always done is we have separated the things that you're going to want, the things that you're going to need, and the things that you should borrow from somebody else. Mary officially has made a product of something that you need. So Mary is the creator of a baby, it's actually a neonate wrap called the Aegis. I saw it first at the JPMA Baby Show when it won an innovation award, and I could tell you that that was a few years ago. And it had left such an amazing impression on me that recently, when I was in New York City, I was helping a new parent with her first breastfeeding experience. And in a weird chain of events, I got a message from another mother who was in my same New York City class who had delivered in New York. And she's like, the babies got here early. And I said, well, where are you? And she's like, I'm in this hospital. Coincidentally, I was in that same hospital. And so I was like, I'm here. And I went and I met her in the NICU, and we had a really lengthy discussion about how she really wanted to wear both of them skin to skin, and how, the NICU was really encouraging her to have the babies on her, but she just didn't feel like she had enough support. And so she's like, Nat, do you know of anything that I could use that I could be not hands free, but that I could have the babies on me, have them secure in a skin to skin situation? And then boom, the light bulb went off on the top of my head. And I said, I got to call Mary. And Mary, meet our Twiniversity family.
Hello, everyone.
Oh my God, Mary, so our love for you has gone by a little, and we love you so much, and we're so glad that you not only created the Aegis, but you're so generous by providing a discount to Twiniversity families. And we're going to put the coupon code below, so don't get worried, because this is an item that you really do need to have two of, and you may need to have two in separate sizes because, your partner may wear a different size than the mama would. So just know that, Mary was so gracious and being so generous to make sure that our families could always have two. So Mary, tell us a little bit about you and how this came to be, because not everybody, I shouldn't say not everybody, a lot of people have great ideas, but they never actually put them into motion. How did this evolution go from your light bulb moment to the minute that you had it able to be sold to people all over the country?
Yeah, I think I had no intentions on designing anything myself. I was happy working in labor and delivery, and I ended up having a mom drop her baby during a C-section and felt that we failed this mom. It is the only time that a patient is not restrained to the OR table, and it's the only time that when a mom is there having a C-section, is expected to care for her patient while she's numb 2/3 of her body. Now, we want zero separation. We want to support mom. I'm a mom myself. And so, but at the same time, let's give moms the tools to do it. And let's not put babies at a risk of being dropped or cold stress or anything like that. Same thing with like a vaginal birth. We want to basically just put those safety principles and enhance the protocol that we have currently in the hospitals, because currently babies aren't restrained.
Yeah.
And
but Mary, it's funny because I don't think a lot of people know that patients, like as when you are having a C-section, because of the medicine that is administered to you during your C-section procedure, that you have to be strapped to the table because you're a full risk. And it's not because you're a full risk because you're clumsy. It's because you literally, you can't feel what's happening to your body. Your body is numb. So the moms are typically secured to a table. And what you're saying is when a baby is born and now the baby becomes the patient of that hospital, right? Because it's a new baby, that it's the only time where now this baby is on an operating table in the operating room and the baby is not secure.
And that's exactly, I know, right? It is. And, even women with their legs, here when your legs are numb, just that one leg coming off the table, the rest of your body will just continue to follow. And before you know it, you're onto the floor. And so even for a baby, even though they are not numb, they have no defense. They have no reflexes. And so they might as well be a numb patient as well. And so we understand, and it's scary for new moms. They're in there, they're being operated on themselves. I've never had a C-section as a patient, but I can only just imagine how scary that must be, being on the other side of that drape, and your hormones going back, you've got anesthesia, you're shaking, something's your body. It's a lot, and then you've got blood pressure cuff on one arm that's continuously going off that, puts holding baby at a risk. And same thing with the IV and the pulse ox in the other arm. And we know moms, you give them pad and paper, they'll be writing out the grocery list and everything else on that OR table. We can do literally anything. But at the same time, why are we putting a patient, being the baby, at risk when it's the one thing we can't replace? We restrain the IV to the mom. We restrain fully to the mom. Why aren't we restraining baby to mom and giving babies the same safety in the hospital that we give every other patient? And that's kind of where our big concern is.
Unbelievable. Unbelievably true. And Mary, truth be told, this is totally not just a C-section thing. As somebody who had twins delivered vaginally, the time that you go while baby A is delivered to the time that baby B is delivered, it's like a fantasy to be able to even contemplate that I would have been able to have, A on me skin to skin while I was delivering baby B. So I don't think that this is just, a C-section thing. But going back to the securing your baby on you, tell us about the wrap, how it came to be, how do we wear it? Are we allowed to wear it in the OR? Tell me a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, definitely. So we wanted something so simple. It's really a glorified tube top. It wraps around. It has two bra hook closures and a zipper on the left-hand side. We designed it that way because your circulator typically is on your left-hand side in the OR. Okay. And so what makes us different than any other baby carrier out there, we are the only baby carrier that is FDA regulated, meaning you can take us into the OR. Any other product that's a garment or any of these other devices, kangaroo care devices, they aren't FDA regulated, and you must be FDA cleared to go into the hospital. So many of the nurses are telling us that they're using the belly bands that we use for the TOCO and the ultrasound. And what we're getting back is that so many of the hospitals, babies are still falling out of them because it's not what the product was intended for. Yeah. It's one of the reasons we designed this specifically for these uses. And being in the OR for so long and working in L&D for 10 years, you become privy to all the different issues that babies are going through. And it's not just the falls, the suffocations, the postnatal collapse. It's also the cold stress and the hypothermia. And that, when I was having my kids, I didn't know that babies can't regulate their own temperature and they can't shiver.
Yeah.
I figured if my baby was cold, they would start to shiver. If they're too hot, they might sweat. Babies at that age, they cannot. They don't even have that regulating mechanism. And so this is one of the things with our product. We have Ecstatic Silver, which is registered through the EPA as an antifungal. And it's great for, antimicrobial, antifungal. It's a great thermoregulator. When you think about it, silver has been around. We used to put it in the eyes of babies instead of the erythromycin that we're using today. So we definitely are designed with a hospital and that first month of neonatal care in mind. And we're kind of like the early stages of baby wearing. And then that's when you'll transition to something that you see on the consumer market, like Ergo Baby Tula, Baby Beyond, something like that. All incredible products. But we are designed with the airway support for a neonate, because also, once again, babies can't maintain their neck, their posture. And so we also maintain airway for these neonates. So we really...
Unbelievable. It's so funny because, one of the things, as when I was training to become a lactation consultant, the very first thing that they tell you to do when you visit a parent for the first time is do not think about breastfeeding. Just get baby on skin to skin. And that's kind of our step one, right? So there's so many benefits to baby. Forget about, being able to help them regulate their body temperature. There's so many things chemically that go on in both of our bodies, the new baby and the new mom, that having your baby skin to skin is so critical. And to think that I could do this in the OR, and then so basically when I'm going into the OR, I'm putting this on before I go in, and my partner too, right, Mary? Because they could have theirs on under their scrubs.
Yes. And so we definitely want dads, because they can colonize with the baby also. It's a completely different microbiome. And so, one of the things that, the physiological benefits that most moms don't know is that it reduces your risk of postpartum depression, right? Because we want to transition mom. And I just need to put this out there. Stop breastfeeding babies in the OR. I mean, I can't tell you how many videos I see of nurses trying to get moms to start breastfeeding in the OR. Now, your body is still under so much stress, okay? Even though you are numb, your body is still being exposed to all of these main factors. Now, keeping it simple, your body is releasing so much cortisol. And what you're doing is now, as soon as you go to that sympathetic state, releasing all that cortisol, it's being released now to baby. And you're going to have such a hard transition into parenthood with the baby that's getting overstimulated by so much cortisol. At this point, just do skin to skin. Don't create any breastfeeding. Wait until about maybe an hour later and let your body transition from that surgical state. We put these moms under so much, and we wonder why they're getting postpartum depression. How much more do you expect out of mom? And it's something that moms just think, oh my gosh, my baby's going to start breastfeeding. And of course they don't feel it because they're numb, but they don't realize your body is going through one of the biggest stressors in its life. And that is surgery.
That is the truth. It's true, because if you think that there's nurses that are encouraging people to start breastfeeding while there's still a gaping incision on the other side of the surgical garb. So it's kind of a no-brainer that I would have, an Aegis on when going into the OR. But let's just say now my babies are in the NICU. I didn't know about this product before, but now I'm in the NICU, and unfortunately my child has to be on, a respiratory monitor, and there has to be these other things. How does the Aegis work for a NICU baby that might have certain leads on them?
Yeah, and we get that all the time. So basically, baby would just go skin to skin with mom, kangaroo care style, and with the Aegis, able to just, with all the cords, even a vent, it doesn't matter. You're able to wrap it around and zip it. And so it's super easy. Even if you can't zip it, you even have just the two simple eye hooks. If you need to have something that's coming through, you still have that stability. That baby is skin to skin with mom. And, we want to maintain that sleeping pattern, because that's when babies are actually growing. That's when babies are recovering. We want to maintain that parasympathetic state for these newborns. And it's all that physiological response that we're really trying to create, and it's all Mother Nature. and putting baby skin to skin and colonizing and building that healthy microbiome, because it's not just the baby that we're treating today, it's the baby that we're going to have a year from now, 2 years from now, and where are they going to be health wise as far as lifelong health benefits. And let's not forget mom, who is a patient too. I mean, putting baby skin to skin with mom has so many physiological benefits for the recovery of both mom and dad. I mean, dads are exposed to so much postpartum depression. So it really is a family unit that we're really trying to recover here. And, you know, unfortunately, 50% of the moms that deliver without a spouse by their side.
Yeah.
So we've got so many moms doing so much, and it's like, let's give these moms the tools to do it.
Absolutely.
It's, you know, it's our tagline.
Your tagline is what?
Our tagline is maternity is the only floor in the hospital where a patient is expected to care for another patient. And sometimes
high five. Virtual high five, Mary. That is the truth. Ugh.
And some people say, oh, but it's your baby. Of course you're going to care for your baby. But does the hospital bill you for just one, or do they bill you for two? The hospital is billing you separately for 2 different patients.
3 for us.
Yes, for 3, exactly, for twins. And so, you know, we just want to give moms the tools to really fully recover and benefit from childbirth. It's the biggest transition in our life.
Yeah. I never really thought about that. And the first time we met, that's something that you said to me. And it was such an epiphany, and it made me so sad, but it's so, so, so true. Now, another thing that I really wanted to talk about is that, you know, in the NICU too, and in now, thank goodness, knock on wood, everybody is really very full promoting, you know, skin to skin contact. But I can remember when my babies were born. So my twins were born in 34 weeks. And I would be in the NICU, and they would basically be like, put them on you. And I'd be like, okay. And I would put them both on me. And I remember wearing a button down maternity shirt, and I would just button the shirt up over me. And that was supposed to be secure enough. So I would hold both of them with one hand while, you know, I was, you know, attending to something over here or trying to fix their bed, because, you know, the NICU at the time that we were there was really, really busy. So I would try to kind of straighten everything up since the nurses were busy with other babies. But it's so interesting how now it's just normal life, right? So skin to skin is to us, and I hope that more parenting and childbirth people are talking about the unbelievable benefits of skin to skin, but it is very overwhelming, you know, but to have the wrap and to have the Aegis wrap, it just makes such logical sense. But the biggest question that I have for you is, how does this work when it comes to twins? If I buy myself my one Aegis wrap, which is basically measured by my bra size, right? So that's how it's sized. It's sized by my bra size. So then I know what the circumference around my rib cage is. So now I know I have the right one. Can I actually have skin to skin contact for both babies in one wrap?
Most definitely. And we actually promote having both babies in there, because we forget both babies have been in the womb together for their whole lives, right?
Yep.
And so we don't want them to have the stressors of now being separated and almost that abandonment of these neonates. So basically keeping those neonates, these babies, side by side in one wrap. And most of the time, they're right there in between that 3 to 5 pounds, you know? So they very easily fit in there. And with it being such a young preemie, like we have one of the best preemie wraps as far as I'm concerned, because it does offer that airway support, and it does offer that nice 4-way stretch and the thermoregulation. It's everything what we kind of call as that 4th trimester. And the 4th trimester really is about bonding and that continued growth, because your baby is going to grow so much just in that next month, you know, and same with mom. This is a huge transition and a huge recovery for mom.
Yeah. I just felt so bad, because I keep thinking about that family that I saw, and she felt
Yeah.
so incapable of taking care of her babies. And and I said, no, I was like, you got this. And she's like, I don't know if I can. I'm worried I'm going to drop them. They're so tiny. They were a little over 3 pounds each. And
Hmm.
I understand. I mean, I remember, I think the smallest babies at the time that I ever held were my own. Now it's interesting because I'm sure in your neck of the woods, when you work in this space for a long period of time, now I'm not afraid of a 3 pounder anymore when I hear, I'm like, oh, that's pretty great. 3 pounds, 6 ounces, that's fantastic. And they're like, what? And I'm like, listen, we have babies a pound and change that start, especially with twins being typically born early anyway. So we've really been encouraging our Twiniversity students and our Twiniversity community to really look into the Aegis to see if it's something that would fit into their universe. And then what I found so fascinating was you're actually considered medical, like medical supplies.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are actually a medical device. We are the only baby carrier that actually went through the FDA. We are the only baby carrier that is hands free, skin to skin, that can actually even be used in the ambulance to transport these neonates for any kind of neonatal transport. We passed frontal, rear, and side collision testing, if that gives you an
Unbelievable.
idea of how well baby is in there. And so I think with just my medical background, it's really putting together a product that benefits both mom, dad, baby, the nurses, the doctors, and all the other medical staff. We are designed to be used in
Hmm.
the hospital. And then to transition mom as she goes home, because it doesn't stop when we go home, especially if we have other kids at home. Moms have to be hands free, and especially when you have twins, how
Hmm.
do you have any other hands to do anything else? So this way, mom's able to wear both babies and be completely hands free, skin to skin, to be able to function at home. She could make
Wow.
herself a sandwich. She can do anything that she needs to do as long as she has her two babies
Hmm.
in this. And, of course, dads are loving it too. This is a huge benefit for dads as well. But we all know that mom on a big deal of the carrying and the wearing. And we
Hmm.
wanted to make it something that was comfortable for mom. So we're made out of the same material, same manufacturer as Lululemon. So we're kind of bringing yoga wear to labor and delivery, because we say there is not a sport that requires more endurance than
True.
childbirth, right? And so, even when we're at home or we're out running errands and we have no intentions of even going to the gym that day, we're in our yoga wear, we're in our comfies. And
True.
so having a baby is one of the biggest transitions. So we just wanted to make it something that was comfortable
Yeah.
for moms. And there's a lot of amazing baby carriers out there, and they all serve different purposes.
Hmm.
And and so I just think it's great to have such an array for so many people to find which carrier works best for
Yeah.
them and their baby.
I love it. Now, Mary, so you said that we're considered a piece of medical equipment, right? So would
Yeah.
this mean that I could get this covered by my health insurance?
Depending on the health insurance, there is a HCPC code. And so if they do want to purchase, we do have our HCPC code on our shipping invoice, and
Okay.
they can actually put that through their insurance and get reimbursed for that as well. Once again, we are through the FDA, and we are considered a medical device.
I love that. And of
So
course, if you can't get your insurance to cover it, then if I have flex spending, so if I have a flexible spending account, I could use that. I love that. That's fantastic. Now,
exactly.
so we start literally in the OR. How long can I wear this?
Well, we say 4 to 14 pounds, and then we also say up to 28 days. However, you know, anything smaller than 4 pounds, we just want the doctor's discretion. They're
Hmm.
the ones treating the patient or the nurse. And so we want them to identify what's best for the baby. Same thing with up to 14 pounds. For some people, that takes you all the way up to 9 months. Now, the
Hmm.
baby's going to start to outgrow it before, and a lot of moms, they will continue to use it even at night when they're breastfeeding and then doing skin to skin as they put the baby down. One of the greatest benefits is that continuous skin to skin. It actually regulates the baby's circadian rhythm, which means because when they're born, they're nocturnal. And us as moms, we want to get the baby into our sleep cycle. And this is one of the biggest issues with new moms is that broken sleep and that sleep regulation. So being able to maintain that constant skin to skin, it will transition baby and fix their circadian rhythm, which is their awake clock, into the same schedule as mom and dad's. So it's, which is great. And these are all just physiological benefits. And there's not a machine out there that can do what Mother Nature does with mom and baby.
That's the truth. It's funny how people will say, oh, try this or try this. But the simplest thing is just having your babies to your skin. It's like the healer of the world, right? It's so simple. And people try so many different things and they're worried about so many different things. But this really, it's something that, as a NICU mom, I had kind of a leg up because they were pressuring us to do that. And it was unbelievably beneficial. And I didn't realize it at the time, how great it would be and how fantastic it was to have that experience, or even just some normalcy. Like if you have a typical delivery and, you go home at a typical time. Our experience was very, very different because of having to go to the NICU. But I could see for our term parents and all of that, to be able to go home and then have a hands-free option, because a lot of people are like, well, they make twin carriers and they make these carriers. Guys, you can't use a baby carrier until they have reached a certain weight limit because of the way that their hips are placed. There's so many things that go into it. And I appreciate expectant parents because they're a little naive when it comes to this. And I'm like, oh, you're so cute, but you cannot literally start wearing any carriers until your babies meet a certain weight. But the Aegis, I could start in the OR, from 4 pounds to 14 or under 4 pounds with my doctor's discretion. I love it, Mary. I think this is so incredible. And I'm so happy that I think it's interesting that you remembered us as much as we remembered you when we touched base. So we definitely left a big impression on each other. And in hindsight, I can't understand why every parent, forget about a twin parent, truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot comprehend why this isn't the number one item on everybody's list, because this is a need. This is like you need 2 car seats when you go to a hospital because they cannot be discharged until they pass a car seat test. I cannot understand why, if they're having a scheduled C-section or they know that they're going, they're going to have these babies in a hospital, why they wouldn't at least want that opportunity to have them in a skin-to-skin position with, a good trachea, stability, and easy to wear, easy to wash, easy to size, because that's another big problem, is that often you buy these baby carriers and, the babies could be 10 months old before you figured out how to put it on. So the Aegis, bra snaps, a zip, and you're done. So I really just want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart. And I appreciate what you've done. And I know that must have been so horrible to experience, trauma in the OR, if God forbid, another family dropped a baby. But this was just such a smart thing to do, and it makes so much sense. And I really just want to say thank you. Now, Mary, when people want it, where do they go? How do they find this?
Definitely go to Saplacor.com, spelled Saplacor. Go to our website. You can purchase it on our website. We have a discount code for all the twins, which is Twins 2020, for all the new moms out there. And, we just want to help all the new moms. We understand that this is the biggest transition in your life. And so many of us plan for our pregnancy and we plan for the birth, but we kind of forget to plan for our postpartum recovery. And This is our way of helping you plan.
So much. So guys, you heard it from Mary, you heard it from me. Saplicore.com for full details. You could buy it right there. The code is twins2020, so you get 40% off, so that the
Yeah.
expense is not a ridiculous expense. So Mary was so generous about that, making sure that twins, we can buy two. There's no stress, so you could have one for your partner, one for yourself. Everybody wins. And if you have more questions for Mary, you could email us too at community@twiniversity.com. Don't forget to follow us on all social at Twiniversity. And once again, Mary, thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. So guys, until next time, we'll see you later, alligators.